Number 16, Sweet 16, let's do a boxes to build. I don't even know where it's from yet. Welcome back to the McGolf Shop, where we do boxes to builds, where we just get the boxes, figure out what's in there, and we talk about a topic in order to help you along with understanding golf clubs, working on golf clubs, and if you got any questions, asking about golf clubs. Again, on this one, we have a live stream on Mondays, 17:30 or 5:30 p.m. on Eastern Time. It's called What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. If you just sign in and check us out. It is a very casual discussion from folks from around the world about golf clubs, fitting, repairs, opinions, the whole 9 yards. All right, so number 16, we are rolling with these things, and I am just very appreciative of it. Now we got to figure out what we got, so let's do that. Oh, and it's a heavy boxes to build. It's busting at the seams. Let's see, do we even know where it came from? It came from Stevensonville, Maryland. Another Maryland one. How about that? All right, 2 Maryland ones. Funny part is, when I was a young lad, I used to live in Maryland in a place called Cape St. Clair and Bowie. All right, let's open this guy up. Let's see what we got. Okay, with my best Peter McKinnon imitation. I know I've said Peter McKinnon more than a couple times before. The dude's very entertaining. He's got a lot of followers on YouTube, into the millions. Great photographer. He's very creative. If you like that kind of stuff, I'd say visit him. All right, so what do we got here? Some Titleist T200s and T100s. Okay, so what do we got here? Let's take them out. All right, so it looks like we've got some. Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun here. All right. We've got some LA golf shafts. We're going to talk about those here in a moment. Yeah, LA golf, La Golf. Okay. And, oh, here's another one. All right, what's the first club? So the first club's a T200, and it looks to be brand spanking. Wow, well done. With some Nippon modus 130 X's. Woo! Alrighty, let's see how many of those we got. One. Oh, stops right there. Maybe it's at the other end. So that was a 5-iron. The other one appeared to be a 4. This is a 6. This is a T100s. Another T100s in the 7. And we'll make it a little shorter this time. We'll just take the... Alright, 8-9 pitch and another pitch, or their version of a gap, all in T100Ss. Alright. And they all had the Z grips on them. That's cool. Another LA golf shaft. We got some Winn grips. These are oversized. These are the LTs for low taper. We really do well with these here at the shop. And some ghost ferrules of some variety. All right, looks like it's empty. On with that one. Alrighty, so let's see what he says. Okay, so he says he put in some Titleist T200s 4 and the 5, we saw that. The 6 through the A wedge, we saw that. All with the modus 130Xs, we saw that. And the Z grips, which I think are excellent. He supplied some what he called ghost ferrules, the dry tacks, 7 L series shafts, and 1 wedge shaft. Okay, what he wants me to do, pull all the 130 shafts from the irons and reshaft with the LA Golf L series with ferrules and grips provided. D2 swing weight. All irons are set at 1 flat of Titleist standard and standard lofts of each model. So it's a pull and install. Okay, so a pull and install. That makes life a little easier. The hard part is the D2 swing weight, because we got to figure out. We'll take out an LA Golf We'll just weigh one. Let's see what we got. Alrighty, so made in the USA, LA Golf, L Series, even comes with a CPM on it. Okay, so a couple of things. Let's see that this is okay, we're going to go with the idea that this, the LA Golf shaft, right, LA Golf, right, it is obviously it's a graphite shaft. It's got the coating on it is a rough coat. It's not smooth. It is a bright paint with their typical logoing on it, and it is very, very thick. This is a very, very stout shaft. I can tell you just by looking at it. Now, D2 swing weight. Let's see what this thing weighs out at. Okay, it's a 123 shaft. All right, this is about a 5 iron. Here's a 5 iron, a total weight. Now this is, just bear with me on this. 432, and we're going to swing weight it. Okay, so with a 130 shaft and an X-Flex and the Z grip, which is heavier by design, I'm getting somewhere around D0. Okay, we're going to go with D0. Now, that's a 130 gram shaft, right? At least that's what it would be protected to be. I'm going to look it up. And we have a 125, so we're already looking at losing swing weight, and we're already at C9, right? Or D0, all right, so D0. So the only other thing we've got to look forward to is this. So this is all calculating swing weight even before I'm touching the first club. So there you go, let's calculate some swing weight. So if we're going to make everything the same exact length, and we're not touching the head, then the shaft and the grip is where it's going to come into play. Now, we're about 5 grams. Let's just assume it's 130. I don't think that it is. I think it's actually lighter, but we'll look that up here in a moment. And we know we measured this at 124, so let's just say they're approximately the same. So the only thing we got left is the grip. So this grip weighs 45.6 grams. So if I need to gain at least 2 more swing weight points, so at what we're talking about in the grip section, right, 4 grams is 1 point. See how about that? 2 grams for 1, all right, is 1 point. So I need this grip to be 8 grams heavier by design in order for us to be able to be anywhere close to what the golfer is looking for. So what I need this thing to weigh is somewhere around 53, 54 grams, and that's probably not going to be too hard to accomplish. So I got to go look it up and see what the standard is. Let me get right back to you. Okay, looking it up in the book, 50.5 is where it's at. So I only gained about 5 swing weight, or 5 grams, so, or lost 5 grams, making it heavier. So that's the gain we're looking for, right? So that's 1 swing weight point, so I'm to D1. So I'm going to have to look at, so that means when we go to measure this thing, we're going to have to measure it out naked, meaning no grip, and then see whether or not we need to add a 2 gram weight. 2 gram weight, right? And that brings in its own, it's going to bring in its own problems. So we got our thing, right? So if we're building everything else and all we're looking for is swing weight, and so we got to figure out how we're going to make that go. So calculation wise is that if again we lost a little bit here and say 5, and that's half of a swing weight point, but we gained 1 back, so we got like half of a swing weight point to the positive, and we need to get to 2. So now the question is, what are we going to do with that? And what does that make? What happens when you do that in a build? So let me take a couple of these clubs apart, and then we'll go talking about the assembly for the swing weight. All right, we're back from taking apart the Titleist clubs. Now let's go back and review this a little bit. There's T200s and T100s. The T200s are basically the hollow body version for Titleist. Everybody's got one. The Titleist one actually looks very, very nice. It's going to progress into the set, no big deal. The T100s are the stronger version. I guess that would be the S, stronger. Stronger version than the T100s. and it is a kind of a player's cavity kind of setup, nice top line, minimal offset on it. It's very, very nice. Now, I had to go look up LA Golf or lag, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, the L series. So LA Golf makes no bones about what this is for. This is for the person that goes after the club, right? Goes after the swing. Kind of thinking Bryson DeChambeau-ish. That a word, Bryson DeChambeau-ish? Anyway, for a guy that's going to be an aggressive swinger, go after it and swing hard. That's basically what these are for. They're very, very stout. They're X flexes. There's no way you're not going to bend these, or you're going to bend these things. They're going to work out pretty good. Now, I did some measuring, and I did some measuring of the club heads, and I did some measuring of the shafts. And we already figured out that the shafts were a little bit lighter than what was already in them, and they were at D0. And that was with a 130 gram shaft, so we're losing weight. So we need to figure out how to add to that, right? Well, then we also figured out that the grips were a little bit lighter, but not by a lot, and that helped us out. That helped the transition out. So now we're right back to how do we get our swing weight back up? Because he only wants 2 more points. So I went and measured the heads, and the heads are light. I mean, good night. This is all over the place. So, and it's not so light that it's ridiculous. It's within the parameters of what I've seen other manufacturers. They just run a little light. But the thing is, when I measure them, their spacing for the heads is very, very good. Now for the shafts, it's a whole different animal. The first 4, maybe 5 of the shafts are within, well, they start at 123, then they get down to 120. That can be, it's not very significant until you get down to the pitching wedge where it goes to 114. That is significant. That's a swing weight point. So I've got to add weight for that one. All right, and then the last one, which is the wedge shaft, is right back up to 119, 120 again. So that's where we're at. So we got this fluctuating wedge shaft that that really doesn't have a huge impact on swing weight, but can. So what did I do? All right, so what I did, I went and took, I got me the length for this guy, right? So I got a 10 gram tip weight, and that is not 10 grams, but that's the 10 grams. That's how it starts. Now, most of the weight is in the shaft of it, not the base pin. What I mean is, most of the weight that you get sits here, right? Not here. Where in other companies that make them, it's all on the bottom. So now what I've done is I got it so that it'll fit right in there. We should be good to go. Now what I do is I custom cut each one of these weights, and I wear them on my thing. That's good till hundredths of a gram. So I'm in pretty good spacing. So that's what I did, is I created that. Now another issue is that the end of the hole wasn't big enough to receive these. This is going to get where it gets kind of controversial. They're going to say, well, then you can't add the weight. I say, well, I think I can. And so why is that? Well, in every place I've ever done anything as far as stability goes, and that's all we're impacting here is stability, right? Because when you make a golf shaft, it's about adding the layers, and there's plenty of layers in here to deal with. And it's a taper tip, so we're already dealing with, that's already a good thing. So I opened up the end of the tip just big enough to receive that, which wasn't a whole lot, but I did it anyway. Now, why am I confident with that? Because I'm putting something back in its place that will take up any of that stress. So when I put the glue in, all this stuff, that's going to make it even firmer, more firm. So I think we're going to be okay. Now, would I recommend doing this all the time? No, I would not. But the golfer was very specific on his swing weight, so that's where we're going to go. If swing weight was not mentioned, I would not do this. All right, but that's where we're at with this guy. So that's where we're at. So we've got him in there. I did some swing weight checking, and that's how I know we're good with this, is that I cut this one to length, and then what I did is on my swing weight scale, I add it to length. I put this on here just like this, and then I measure it. And so using length and using weight, I was able to obtain the D2 swing weight. It took a little bit of trickery, but I got her there. And so that's what we're doing. So what did I do? I took the tip weight, the 10 gram tip weight, and I cut it to 4. All right, that's 4 grams now. And I cut each one individually, so some are a little heavier than others. In fact, the 114 is actually 6 grams. So a little bit less cutting, a little more drilling, and there we are. So that's what we have. So we've got them all set up, and I did that to 2 different clubs. I did the cutting and measuring of 2 different clubs, and I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. So now I've got it all cut, I've got it all drilled, I've got all the tips prepped. Now all I gotta do is glue it, and we'll come back and we'll start measuring and make sure where we're at. So let me put these together and then we'll come back to it. All right, so we're on day 2, and here we go again. We're going to open up the door. Nope. We're on the last day. We've got everything cut, we got everything glued, we got everything gripped. Now the moment of truth is here, right? We got to see, did these guys swing weight out, right? They swing weight out. What do we want? We want a D2. And what we saw was the shafts were not exactly all the same. Now I like giving a 3 gram difference in weight so that, you know, there's manufacturing tolerances, right? 3 grams, that's pretty tight tolerance. And most people make that, right? In this particular instance, I think it was 4 or 5 out of the shafts were within the 3. A couple were within 4, and then there was one that was 9. And the 9 caused a little bit of a problem. So because I saw that, we individually cut all the tip weights and added it, and I measured. Well, even when you do that, I came out light on 1 club. So most of the clubs, you want a D2, I got D1.5, right? I got 1 to 1.5, and the other one was D0. So I missed the mark on the 1, but the other ones are dead solid on. As you can see, they look really, really nice. They came out very, very well. So if you guys are trying some of this stuff at home, or you don't think you have that kind of skill sets, or you get a bit out of your depth, you need a little help, give us an email, clubmaker@mcgolf.net or mcgolfshop@roadrunner.com. Tell us what you want. We can help you out with it, and just send us the stuff and we'll take care of you. Now, as always, let's see your scores. Go low.